My 27M ex-husband wants to reconcile with me, 23F, but on his terms. My ex and I divorced late November of last year. I would share why, but it's a super long story. Just know that it was really messy. Anyways, he came back a month ago wanting to reconcile. I asked him kindly to give me time to consider things and then as time to rebuild and take things slowly if I decide to proceed. However, he's giving me ultimatums stating that he wants to get back together sometime this year soon or he'll just get engaged to someone else. But he'll propose anyway just to give me the opportunity remarry him. Like WTF. I just came out of a whole marriage with him. I'm not looking to remarry him or anyone else in the near future. I'm just super confused as to why I'm being rushed to reconcile with him. I would be more receptive to start all over and build everything back up. However, this is a huge turnoff because I'd like to be able to see real change from him then make a sound decision. Nothing better than an ultimatum to rebuild a relationship. There's some shit going on that he wants to be married so badly. It could be you or any other woman. My vote would be to let it be another woman. Hard pass. LMAO, tell him to shut up and spend this energy raising his child tears of joy. I honestly wouldn't take this in a great way. He's trying to trap you by rushing in so fast and he's threatening ultimatums. I'd say you need to create boundaries and take more time. Someone who actually loves you wouldn't tell you, do XYZ by this date or I'll marry someone else. You already know this. We don't bring trash back into the house once it's been brought to the curb. He knows that if you have time for think it over, you might say no. He's rushing you so that you'll say yes. Maybe if all the guys you could be with, don't pick him. He's giving me ultimatum stating that he wants to get back together sometime this year soon or he'll just get engaged to someone else. I think the answer is, okay, go have fun with that. Bye. You are being rushed to reconcile because he does not want to be alone. You are the lowest hanging fruit, but if you are not down right now, he is happy to go find someone else. Husband befriending friend's daughter. I'm 56 and hubby is 53. It's my second marriage, his first. We've been married 7 years. In his past he used to go to spas, where he would get the attention of younger females. He said he went to those places due to the trauma of a difficult 10 years relationship with a drug addict, who died. He says he feels like he missed his 30s due to that relationship. He has recently had erectile dysfunction issues and our intimacy has understandably suffered. Recently, he has connected with his best friend's daughter who is 20 years younger. He's known her since birth. She is in a relationship and has a daughter. We live an hour away. They have been on a day road trip to antique markets where he drive an hour to get her, then back this way and an hour opposite direction to go there, then drive her home and back again. So a shitload of driving, cost of gas etc. She took selfies of them together and posted on Facebook but only made them visible to him and her. I saw the photo, it bothered me his arm around her all close up in the car. We don't get much time together as husband and wife. And yet again this coming Sunday, he's driving out her way to hang out with her. This makes me uncomfortable. I find this weird. Odd. And I feel like my feelings about this don't matter. Yes, I trust him but I'm not sure about what this is about given his past. Thoughts? Tag along during their hangout time. If this is an issue for either of them then you have your answer. I'm dying to know what his best friend thinks about this. Lol. His trauma forced him to go to spas, to have sex with young women who were almost certainly victims of sex trafficking. That's what you're buying here. He's unable to have sex with you, likely due to porn use, and now he's pursuing the daughter of a friend. Why exactly are you with this creep? Girl, go get STD tested on your way to a divorce attorney. This is definitely weird to me. I am not usually jealous or anything in relationships, but this would also make me uncomfortable. And #X200B. Have you guys actually had a conversation about this? Cool, so he can't have sex with you and he's giving his emotional attention to another woman. As married people in your 50s, I would hope you could sit him down and ask, just what the hell are you doing? No one's trauma forces them to get a handy at the spa. $500 allowance too much for me? My husband and I are going to be in a better financial situation in a few months. Our debt will be completely paid off. We sat and did our finance budget together. After all expenses are paid, we would be able to put away $2,500 a month into our savings. That's including a $500 allowance for myself, whether it be clothes, hair, makeup, whatever. He also would be getting the same. He lost it when he heard I would be giving myself a $500 allowance and said who needs that much blah 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 and went off into a fit. To me that comes off as super controlling. Who are you to tell me how much is enough for me to have for my own personal spending? Of course when I mentioned the controlling word he lost it even more and said that's not it, it's just ridiculous that I would need that much a month. I told him it doesn't also mean I would spend it all, I could also save up for something of my own if I wanted to. In the end we would have $2,500 left to save, and for him to lash out on me for having an allowance that I fucking work for is insane. Thoughts? I'm the sole provider, he's a stay-at-home dad who will be going back to school in May. What did he say about a $500 allowance for himself? Did he think it was too much for him too? WTAF? You are the breadwinner, and obviously earning a very nice living for your family, and he thinks he should dictate how much you budget for personal expenses. Particularly when you have budgeted the same for him, and this is all after the bills are paid and a healthy amount placed in savings. Sounds like someone has some ego bruising over being financially supported by his wife and is trying to pull some macho crap to show that he is wearing the pants, not the asshole. I saw your comment, you are the sole provider. Hell no, he is being an ass. I'd fire back that if spending $500 is too much then you will gladly add his allowance back into savings. Didn't anybody read that he gets $500 for expenses and $500 spending? Does he want to reduce the amount of his allowance as well, or only yours? And would he be expected to pay for fun stuff for the kids out of his allowance, or would that be extra? Meaning, would your $500 be for just you while his would be shared with the kids? I'm the sole provider. He's going back to school next month. 30 M. My girlfriend, 31 F. of 5 years is threatening to break up with me for quitting my job. I worked an okay job making around $55,000. It was a boring office job, but I sometimes enjoyed what I did. Problem is the crunch was getting worse. Some crunch I could do, but this crunch was never ending and everyone was stressed. I was clocking in at 80-90 hours with no extra pay to show for it. With all the coffee and Red Bulls I was consuming, I started developing health issues. I was told by my doctor to reduce my stress, cut out this caffeine and work less. Well, working less wasn't an option as it's mandatory to work OT. I'd be fired for performance issues if I didn't. With my boss telling me I'd be working for the next 6 months weekends and doubles. I had enough stress and just broke. I insulted my boss and supervisors, emptied my desk and went home knowing my career was over. I kinda expected sympathy from my girlfriend, but instead she was pissed. I'm a child for doing this, immature, the doctor was wrong, etc. etc. This is what being an adult is. Working non-stop. I'm a loser for throwing my career away because I was tired. There's no excuse. She doesn't care if it was a $10,000 a year job. The fact is I quit like a child having tantrum. She said she can't see a future with someone who would quit a job because they were overworked, but this is what I don't understand. She was getting annoyed we could barely do anything together. I was always working 12 16-hour shifts and the one day I had off I was too tired for anything including sex. I just don't understand. Why is my health not a concern? I have heart problems from all this work and stress. Why is she not more sympathetic that I was literally dying? I couldn't face another crunching session. 6 more months of 16-hour shifts with one day off is just pointlessly cruel. What even did I do wrong in this relation? Should I just work myself to death for her? She showed you that she'd walk as soon as you hit a rough patch. So let her. You don't need a girlfriend like that. Don't stress yourself out even more. Take time for yourself and most importantly, don't take her back. I mean, there is a huge vast area in the middle of the two extremes that you could have taken, between working yourself to death and quitting while insulting all your bosses. I can see where she's coming from, because you quit without a plan and that's really not something you can do as an adult. It honestly would have been better to stop working the mandatory OT and let them fire you, after giving them your doctor's note, because then you could collect unemployment and probably even get something for wrongful termination. You're not compatible. Don't work yourself to death for anyone. No, you should not work yourself to death for her or for anybody for that matter. Health comes first, and if your health issues are caused by the past job, then it's a good thing you quit. Try to find a job that allows flexible hours so you don't encounter too much stress and always have time to relax and distress. As for your girlfriend, my advice? Get rid of her. Well, if you got fired you would have gotten a. Do you too need the money? What's the next few weeks or months look like? What is your plan? What work are you going to be targeting? What's her work situation like? Should I just work myself to death for her? No. You should not. And unless she's working 16 hours per day 6 days a week, I'm not sure where she gets off judging you. Did you line up another job? Did set up job interviews? Do you have enough savings to find yourself another job safely? Don't get me wrong. She's being shitty by saying being overworked isn't an excuse to leave. It is. But you were absolutely childish the way you left your job. Essentially eliminating them as a good reference. Not by quitting but by insulting everyone on your way out. Even in a toxic work environment.